All right, so boom, it's 2030. You hopped in your brand new Tesla you just bought because the year's been good to you. So you know you got the performance edition, you got that bitch in white, right? Your friend calls you and you say, you know, I'm gonna come pick you up on the way. So you get your friend, right? Y'all get the Starbucks. But before you hop out of the car, some little kid runs up to you with a camera and he says,
hey man, what do you do for a living?
Nothing.
Nothing? Okay.
Investments.
Investments?
Yeah.
Okay.
and this is the video that started all that. This video is really just for the people who asked for it. This is gonna be a private YouTube channel. I started off this YouTube shit like a few times already. I thought about it and honestly, I just don't have time for the editing. I don't have time for to make a really solid video because I wanna make everything that I do, I don't have time to make things as clean and as solid as I wanted to, so I just kind of foredid it. I got in school, there's a bunch of shit going on I'm a little more focused on this year, but I continue to invest. And I made a lot of mistakes, so this is kind of like my video explaining all the shit that you guys keep asking me instead of keep putting it on like Snapchat or something. So it's gonna be kind of raw, it's gonna be just really quick and, or as quick as I can make it, like under 10 minutes or something like that. We're gonna get this shit going because I just can't really do it, and I don't expect to make a lot of videos after this, but we'll see what happens. Maybe one day I'll make it public or something when I have more time to make a better craft. Anyway, the point is, you guys want to know about stocks. I post this shit all the time, and you're trying to figure out how do you get started, what companies, how much money do you need, how do you lose money, what the fuck is a stock, you know, all those kind of questions. So one of the biggest things that people talk about in the market is the fear of the crash or a bubble.
On the markets today, at one point the market fell as if down a well over 700 points.
Apple shares are just getting hammered this morning.
We're down by between 3 and 4.5% generally across these markets. Let's talk about the speed with which we are watching this market deteriorate. We're red everywhere, essentially, down by 4-5%.
We're down over 16%. Dow at the same time has fallen about 18%.
The stock market is now down 21%.
Because we're now down 43%.
What in the world is happening?
When you watch TV, you hear all these words and they're just popping at you. And I know you don't really understand what they all mean. And I still study every day. Every single day I'm studying. That doesn't mean that you have to. If you don't feel comfortable picking individual stocks and stocks that you want to put your money in, that you feel like, you know, Lululemon, Apple, Netflix, Amazon, whatever. If you don't want to go that route, you can go into a stock index. You can pick something like the S&P 500, which is usually recommended by most people.
1942, when I bought my first stock, as an illustration of all the things that have happened since 1942. We've had 14 presidents, 7 Republicans, 7 Democrats. We've had world wars, we had 9/11, we had the Cuban Missile Crisis, we have all kinds of things. The best single thing you could have done on March 11th, 1942, when I bought my first stock, was just buy an index fund and never look at a headline, never think about stocks anymore, just like you would do if you bought a farm. You just buy the farm and let the tenant farmer run it for you. And I pointed out that if you'd put $10,000 in an index fund that reinvested dividends, and I paused for a moment to let the audience try and guess how much it'd amount to, and it would come to $51 million now. And the only thing you had to really believe in then is that America would win the war and that America would progress as it has ever since 1776. And that American business, if America moved forward, American business would move forward. You didn't have to worry about what stock to buy. You didn't have to worry what day to get in and out. You didn't know the Federal Reserve would exist, whatever it might be. And America works.
It's more the idea of I don't want to do the work, but I want to make the money. Generally, the reason why I don't do a stock index or like all my money isn't in a stock index because over time, you would generally do a lot better with one individual company, putting your money into one individual company versus putting your money into something like the S&P 500 that covers 500 companies. Sometimes 400 of those companies suck ass and then 100 of those companies are doing fabulous, you know? So like you want to be able to pick which one you want. You could be a lot more profitable if you took all that money and put it in a Tesla, you put it in an Apple, you put it in a Starbucks, you put it in a Netflix, versus putting it in the overall stock market. because not every business will do well in a 5-year period. So that's like the first thing you want to take away. I get that question a lot. Why don't I just do stock indexes, or like, what's my opinion on the stock index? I think you should do both. I think you should have a little bit of index because it's safer overall. But I think you should pick individual companies. I think you should pick companies that you feel comfortable with, that you know. One of my biggest positions that most of you know is probably Tesla or Apple. Apple's a lot safer than Tesla. Apple, the world will catch on fire and Apple will rise from the ashes. Like, yo, 10 years later, quote me. Like, Apple is so far ahead of the game, it's insane. And I mean, as far as profitability, billions on billions of dollars a year. It's a $2 trillion company. I'm not saying invest in Apple, I'm just giving you an example, okay? But, you know, think of something that everyone has. Think of something that most people feel like they can't live without. And you want to be on the other side of that spectrum, you know? Even Nike. Nike's a good one too. There's so many people you're going to walk past on a daily basis that have Nikes on their feet. And they're probably going to go buy some more Nikes later on. You know, it's those kind of companies you want to look forward to just to get you started. You want something that's solid. I think a lot of people lose money when they start putting their money into penny stocks, shifty stocks, stocks that they really don't understand what the business is. They just know that their friends said they're going to make money, or they start trying to day trade those stocks, or they start buying into options and things that take a lot more risk. Your focus is to just find an individual company that you feel comfortable with being part ownership of. That's all you need to do. Start off with that, okay? Start off trying to find you a nice Microsoft that your mom always told you about, or a Pepsi or something like that. You're not gonna make as much money quickly, okay? You're not gonna make as much money quickly, I know that. But it will make you feel more comfortable about where your money is going. And then over time, you will start to build more money and you can take more risk. If you jump into a company and you put your $100 or your $50 or your $1,000 into this penny stock that's in China and it goes tits up, that's on you. It's over. It's gone. You know, like I just don't think that's the way to go. And I think a lot of people blow up their accounts that way. I've seen a lot of people who hit me up and they tell me about some company that's just like, what the fuck is that? And it's a gamble. At that point, you're just gambling. You're gambling, bro. Like, I don't know. But anyway, so let's start off with some basic stuff you need to understand, right? So with the United States, we have the largest stock market exchange in the world, by far, not even a question. If there was any place you would want to invest in, it's the United States. People in other countries invest in the United States. It's insanely profitable, and it pretty much has been for a long time. I mean, the country market in general, okay? So you should feel pretty comfortable. You know, if the market dips and things, you know, coronavirus happens, you know, things shake up the market, that doesn't really mean you need to run away from the market. It's just kind of, you know, where you are financially, everyone's kind of different. But 9 times out of 10, those big boy solid companies are still going to be here. And even if they were to go under, the government will probably bail them out. I mean, let's be honest, Boeing isn't going anywhere anytime soon. I mean, you got to look back in 2008 when the stock market crashed the first time and big banks went out of business, and GM and Ford and all them and Lehman Brothers and all these companies were just completely fucked. And it cost people jobs. It cost the entire economy to go down because jobs were lost and money wasn't being produced and the liquidity in the market dropped down, and it just became just this fucking free-for-all.
The Dow tumbled more than 500 points after 2 pillars of the street tumbled over the weekend. Lehman Brothers, a 158-year-old firm, filed for bankruptcy.
I don't think anyone really expected a bank as big as Lehman to, be in a position that it's in now.
Brought down by bad mortgage investments, Lehman, which has 25,000 employees, will be liquidated.
I'm starting to find another job.
Merrill, the country's biggest brokerage with 60,000 employees, had been battered by nearly $50 billion in mortgage-related losses. In just 6 months, 3 of the 5 biggest independent firms on Wall Street have now disappeared. Bear Stearns, which collapsed last spring, Lehman Brothers, and Merrill Lynch.
The difference between what happened in 2008 and what happened in the most recent crash back in February was the government responded a lot quicker because they learned from their lessons the first time, kinda. You know, the businesses that used to be in business during that time, they don't want to go through that again. So they're going to do whatever they can to prevent their stock price from going down, because most people don't know that the CEO direct salary is correlated with the stock price. So most companies, about 80% of their salary comes from how well the stock price is doing. Like Elon Musk. Elon Musk became the richest person in the world because of his stock price, right? So a lot of times there's kind of deals that's already put in place where if they want to make the money, they're going to do whatever they can to make sure that stock price is happy. You as a stock owner, as a person who bought stock in the company, you have a say in what happens. Sometimes that can be a really bad thing. You know, if you own stock in, let's say, Facebook, I get letters sometimes or emails and it says like, hey, we want to go this direction. Hey, we're thinking about doing this. And you vote on it. You vote on who's in certain parts of the board. You vote on how much money the person will get over so many time and their bonuses and things like that. You have a lot of control as a stockbroker. And that's the difference between a privately traded company and a publicly traded company. If a company is available for you to trade it, it's available to the public. So that's kind of the difference, and just little small things you need to know going into it. But overall, you should be proud of what you do and the companies that you own and the companies that you invest in, because without you, they really wouldn't be able to do as much as man. They need your money. And some people kind of take that the wrong way. And, you know, it's not always good. Sometimes you have to look at it from a business perspective and say like, okay, if Apple decides to liquidate half of their business and fire a bunch of people, but they still make the same amount of money, that's good for business, but bad for people. Sometimes there's undocumented people who work in the back in the kitchens and stuff, you know, like business does a lot of stuff to get away with it. And that's where politics come in. Sometimes it's better in some people's eyes to have this person versus that person, like a Republican versus the Democrat. And overall, that's where, like I said, the stock index comes in, because that's about the overall America. If overall America does well, cool. But some cases a Republican might be a little better for a certain sector than a Democrat. And that's kind of what you're saying now. The idea that this Democrat that we have in office will push green energy and EVs pushes one trend of a sector in a stock market in one direction. And if you're invested in that, you do well. If you're invested in the S&P 500 or another index like JETS or something like that, you may get a little piece of the pie, but you know, it's not really going to affect you in a way that you would invest in an individual company like Tesla, like NIO, like XPEG or Lee or whatever the case may be. So there's just different things you want to understand before you get into the market. How much money do you need to start off with? That's another question. Okay. You can start off with whatever you want, whatever you feel comfortable. The point is, it is not about timing the market. Most people would say, yeah, I plan on investing later. You're missing, okay? If you're going to sit there and watch Tesla hit $4,000 and you had the same opportunity, the same phone in your hand, the same app, the same chance to invest in the same company that's grown, you know, and 5 years ago, you're missing out. Every single day the market moves. The market is available from Monday through Friday, except for on holidays. Depending on where you are, you know, time. But yeah, man, it's gonna move with or without you. It just is. You're better off putting your money in the market, letting it sit in the market, even if it's in an index fund. Just for the love of God, just do something. It doesn't matter, right? Just start somewhere. Put $5 in and get a smaller company and are up and up, or put $100 in and jump on the back of a bigger company doing fractional shares. Nowadays, there's no excuse. You can literally buy fractional shares of $5 worth of Tesla if you wanted to. I mean, it doesn't matter. But either way, you should get started. You should get started as soon as possible. And if, like I said, if that company dips down, you can buy more. If that company dips down and the only time I really look to sell out of a company is when the overall company's dynamic has changed, the business model has changed, or something has happened to the point where it makes me question if they're going to be able to survive in the same way that I thought they would. Like Uber was a really good example. I had Uber back in the day, but Uber dropped because of coronavirus. No one was driving. We didn't know how long that was going to happen, if Uber was even going to be allowed to drive the same way that they were before in California and major states. There was a bill that was passed. it was really shaky for Uber for a while. And if you jumped out of Uber at 30 bucks, that made sense because the business has changed. But now things have changed with Uber for the better, and now Uber's like a $55 stock. So it just depends, you know, it's really up to you based on your financial situation and what do you think is going to happen with that company and the research that you find. Okay, so now that we got your head wrapped around the idea of the market in general, we should kind of start moving towards investing. Like, how do you start with like a broker, right? So there's 3 different brokers that I have. I have TD Ameritrade, okay, which is TD Ameritrade, Thinkorswim, same thing. There's Webull, and then there's Robinhood. Robinhood is the easiest by far to understand. Most people, I would say, you should start off with Robinhood. Most people do well with Robinhood. It's super easy. When you buy a stock, there's confetti. It makes you feel special. You know, it's designed to be. It aims at a different demographic. It aims at younger people. It aims at people who are really starting off to invest. Versus Webull is kind of like the middle child. It's a little bit of both. It's a little more complex. It's honestly a better app overall, I would say. It allows you, if you sign up, you get 2 free stocks, sometimes 4 free stocks. It just depends. But that's just to get you in the door. So they want to give you free stocks because they want to make, you know, money off you in the long run. And that's made by doing options and stuff. But that's a different story. The next one would be TD Ameritrade. TD Ameritrade is the best by far. You can invest in anything you want in TD Ameritrade. It's very complicated to understand though, and it's more for the advanced investor for sure. You look at TD Ameritrade, that's where all the numbers and it's flashing at you and it looks like a grid and you're just like, what the hell is this? That's probably, you know, one of those bigger apps. So those are the 3 that I use. I recommend you start off with Robinhood. If you don't know, if you feel pretty comfortable and you think like, yeah, I'll learn, I'm gonna take it seriously, go with Webull. Go with Webull. You know, they both give you free stocks. Webull gives you more free stocks, and Webull overall is, in my opinion, a little more steady. You know, they're not known for crashes and just, you know, problems and stuff like that like Robinhood has over the time. I think Robinhood's gotten better, but Webull's probably the better middle ground, and TD is where the real traders go. Okay, so now that you got kind of a general idea of like what the stock market is and how to set up an online broker so you can start investing and stuff, there's some terms that you're gonna have to understand before you get real comfortable in the market. Terms like what is a bull market, what is a bear market, what is a ticker symbol, how do I find information? You know, the stock market is one of the few things in life where it's 100% up to you how much money you make. Literally, it's all your decision. You know, it's not like going to work. It's not like going to work and there's a cap. You're only going to make $15 a day. At the stock market, you make literally $1 million in a day if it's within your power and your knowledge. You can do it. There's people who literally quit their jobs and live off the stock market. You know that, and that's just the game that we're in nowadays. It's all about your research. That's another question people ask me, like, how do I do my research and stuff? There's just tons of different ways. A lot of it's just my own personal research. When I'm invested in certain companies, I want to know everything about that company. You can generally ask me anything in a middle of the night about Tesla or Neo or Baba or something, and I will tell you. Like, try me. Like, I know this shit back and forth in the companies that I invest in. If it's not a company that I know about, then I kind of just stay away from it, or I'm gonna do research. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna see what other people say. And then another thing, analysts don't mean shit, dude. Don't let analysts just come in and say like, yeah, I predict blah, blah, blah. Because sometimes they have their own reasons why they're saying that. Sometimes it's a little more beneficial for an analyst to say something, even though he doesn't really mean it, because he has a position in another company or that company. You get what I'm saying? A lot of analysts are full of shit. A lot of analysts just put things out because, you know, they have money on their mind, man. There's all kinds of backdoor shit going on. So do your own research. Come up with your own ideas. Listen to people. You know, listen to me, whatever. Listen to YouTube. Do your thing. But don't just say like, oh, he said this, so I'm going to do this or whatever. You know, you got to do your research because you will get screwed 9 times out of 10. There's going to be 1,000 people on YouTube's going to tell you, you know, get into this company and pay me $1,000 and I will tell you the secret. I know this and they don't know, but I know and I know. Everyone thinks they fucking know, and no one has no goddamn idea, okay? Shit happens, bro. Like, literally every day, a company's going up and down. Every single day, guaranteed. The stock market will never stay in the same damn point average or the same every day. It might not move a lot. It might stay around the same, you know, for a day or hell, even a week, maybe the whole damn year. But something's going to happen, guaranteed. And the more research you do, the better you'll be. All right. So terms. Bull market, bear market. Bull market means that it's going up. They, you know, the overall market is going up. Indexes are on a rise and things like that. You know, the Dow's going up, the Nasdaq's going up, the fucking New York Stock Exchange is going up, the Dow's going up, the market is going up, right? Bear market means the opposite. Like, hey, you know, because of this is happening, a lot of things are going down. The market's going down, whatever. If someone says that they are bullish on a stock or a company, that means I think it's going to go up. I think it's going to go this way or that way. You know, I believe highly of it within the next 12 months. If someone thinks that a market is a bear market or a company is in a bear position, then they think it's going to go down. A hold means like, yeah, I'm not really sure about it right now. Let's just see what happens. A buy means good price. Let's get it. You know, if you see an analyst and say it's a buy, that means like, yeah, this is a fair value, or they'll tell you the value it's fair of. Seeking alpha is a really good one that does that. If you download Webull or Robinhood, they have information on stocks. Like when something happens, it may be a little late, but there's a little news column you can click on related to the stock you're looking at. And it'll be like, yeah, this just happened. And you can get an idea why the stock is moving the way it is, you know? These apps are really good with that nowadays. A ticker symbol. A ticker symbol is like an identification code or an identification that a company uses when they're on an index, right? So if someone says like, yeah, ticker symbol, blah, blah, blah. Johnson & Johnson's ticker symbol is J&J, AT&T's ticker symbol is T, Baba's ticker symbol is BAB, Tesla's is TSLA, you know, whatever. Apple is like APPL or something like that. A ticker symbol is just the symbol the company uses to identify their name on a said stock exchange, okay? So that's what a ticker means. When do you look to buy into a company? You can't time the market, right? You just can't time the market, man. That's just what it is. You don't know if it's going to go up and down. If you look at a company and you say, hey, I think this has a pretty good upside. You know, the 5G is coming out for Verizon. And Verizon is the most, you know, 5G oriented company in the country right now. I think Verizon will go up once 5G really gets going. I should buy Verizon. You know, Uber, hell, we talked about Uber before, but Uber went down. But the key was Uber lost a lot of their cars and stuff because Uber has, they're more involved in overseas. So when other countries shut down and America shut down, then Uber was pretty much on a gridlock. Where they're going to make their money? Uber Eats, you know, so they came out with that. And now it's like, okay, now Uber's a buy. You know, these things happen. They change. Companies adapt now when things go down. They don't just stay stagnant. They don't turn to like Blockbuster or Kmart and all these other companies just kind of get, you know, dig their heels into one position and then they end up getting beaten out by Netflix or something, right? They try to adapt as quickly as they can because they know that, you know, shit happens really quickly and CEOs get fired and shit happens. You know, the guy doesn't want to lose his job. He's going to do whatever he can to push that stock price up. He will sell his children. He will kill his dog. He will kick the cat through the fucking fan. He does not care. That man is going to save his money. I guarantee you. And that's why the stock price is connected to him. All right. These are all things you need to know. So if you get into a risky company, like I just bought in a company, AMBL, which is like a battery power company. They're making batteries and stuff like that. Maybe they'll do well, but it's risky as hell. If that blows up, that's okay because I'm still sitting on 3M. You know, I got Johnson & Johnson. I got a lot of companies going to keep me up regardless. So if that $100 runs, I'm good. If that doesn't, whatever, you know, that's kind of how you want to do it. It takes time. Start off as soon as you can. Give it a year, man, of just being diligent, making consistent deposits into that account, letting the account grow over time, you know, planting the seeds and shit, watching the tree, water the tree. It's the same deal. It's not that bad. It's not that scary. Just stay on top of it. If you can check Instagram every day and Facebook every day, check your damn portfolio, okay? That doesn't mean you got to freak out every time you see red, okay? But, stocks don't always go up. But if you buy in the right company, the goal is 12 months from now, where would that company be? By the time this president gets out of office, what is that company going to do during the time this person's in office? Think at least that long, okay? When you go into Airbnb, when you go into Tesla, when you go into the airlines or something, it's not about like what it does tomorrow. Yeah, you wish you got at a better price, but you can't time the market. So sometimes it's better to just get a piece in it now. But it's about being in the market. And it's about trying to see how far this company is going to be, because the market is always forward looking. The market is always saying like, hey, this company is not making a lot of money right now, but in 12 years, I bet this company will be profitable and it will make more money. Okay, that's a thing. The other thing people ask me to talk about is like, well, why would I jump into this company and they're not going up? Why isn't Pfizer going up? That was the thing. Like, I got like 5 people tell me like, yo, Pfizer. Pfizer might do well over time, but Pfizer, in my opinion, is a pharmaceutical company that is doing well as far as the vaccines and stuff, but they also have to compete with Moderna. They also have to compete with AstraZeneca or whatever that company is called. They have a lot of companies that are all trying to do the same thing, and the government's pushing money in all of them. And we already know that. It's what's called priced in. Some of the moves that you see a company that's going to make, the stock will run up and they'll just kind of like taper off. Like Pfizer like got to like the 30s or 40s and it just kind of stayed there. And people were jumping in at the 40, and I'm like, yo, it's done. I mean, the good news is already there. The market is already forward looking to what the outcome could be in a positive light, and they already put their money into it. If you jump in at 40, you're more likely for it to go down, because it's more likely that more negative will happen than positive, because the positive already occurred, until you get to another thing called catalyst, dude. It's a lot. So the other thing is big companies like Apple, and I keep saying Apple, but big companies like, let's say, I don't know, Microsoft. Their job is to put out a catalyst. They are always trying to get your attention. Like, hey, we're doing this, we got this, we're cooking this, we made a deal with this guy, whatever the case, to keep you investing in the money. Because if the best has already happened with Apple and the best has already happened with Sony, the PlayStation 5 is already out, everybody already got it, the sales have already been made, it's kind of already priced in. You got to understand that. A lot of times when you're looking at a stock and you're getting in this late in the game with Tesla, the best thing that can possibly happen to Tesla is already priced in. They already look at the market. Big people who got billions and millions of dollars already look at like, okay, this is the best outcome that's going to happen. And they felt comfortable at whatever price they bought it at. Now you're over here a year later just catching wind of this shit, and you're trying to jump into it, and it's already passed. Now you're more likely for it to go down when something bad happens, because it's just life, it's business, something bad happens, and you catch the tailwind of it. You catch the bear part of it. That's kind of why you want to jump in the market, earlier and have more time in it, so you can kind of see these things as they happen, because you're more invested into the overall market. And that's why index comes into play, because when these big companies join indexes like Tesla joined the S&P, you could have been a part of that, and you would have invested in Tesla just because you're part of the S&P. That's just how it goes. So it's just things you want to think about, man, before you jump into the market. There's a lot of people. I think I referred at least 50 people, at least, on Robinhood alone. And people just jump in, and they just got you got to think about it, man. It's where you want your money to be, where you feel most comfortable with. It's a balance. Yeah, you want to get in as soon as possible, but you also want to take your time. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird, but don't be scared of it, man. At the end of the day, like I said, key points: start with a big company, start with something solid that you feel comfortable with. Look around your room. Okay, look around your room. What's this? Sony? Man, Sony will probably be around in the next 5-10 years. Like that's kind of what you want to think about. Try to go in that direction. Go to Pepsi. Pepsi literally is in every damn commercial store you can think of, and half the store is Pepsi. That's okay. It's not going to make a lot of money, because Pepsi is not going to turn around and make the biggest new thing. They're not going to disrupt, the whole market with their new soft drink or some shit like that. That's the difference. If you go to a company that's a little more risky, that is out there trying to do new stuff and bang, 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 like Tesla, it'll probably shoot up, but at the same time, if one thing goes wrong, it's going to hit the fucking floor too. So you got to weigh those things out. You want a little bit of that growth. You want a little bit of that risk with the growth, I guess. And then you want a little bit of a safer stock too. You know, you want something like Johnson & Johnson. You want something like, you know, Coca-Cola. You want something like Verizon or something like that because 5G is coming out. You want something like maybe, you know, maybe a little more forward-looking. Maybe you want to go into DraftKings. You know, something that, you know, once all the stuff kicks over, there'll be a lot of gambling going towards sports because sports will never die off in this country and other countries in general. There's chances in that. There's a lot of companies you can jump into. There's thousands, literally thousands. It's really your decision. And, you know, the only thing I ask from all this is that you guys put out the knowledge that you learn, okay? As soon as you start making money, teach other people to make money. You know, teach your family how to make money. Feed everybody else around you, man. Seriously, because there's too many people just like you who don't know a damn thing about stocks or started off just like me. You know, like that's literally how it goes. And it's important for us to push the knowledge of financial wealth and financial literacy to our people. That's just what it is. So I hope this helps. I gotta wrap this up. Maybe I'll make another video. You guys let me know what you want me to just ramble about Tesla for a half an hour. You know, NEO, you know, whatever. I'm doing pretty good, and I know a lot of you guys are doing good. I've spoken to a few of you guys today, and it's showing me, you know, 30%, 40%, 60%. I just started off my mom when investing. She's already up 10%. It's a little money, but 10% is better than the bank. You know, that's all you're really trying to do when you invest in. That's all you're trying to do is try to make more money than what the bank would have gave you if you put your money in savings. That's it. You're obviously going to take a bigger risk. You're going to take a bigger risk than the savings. The savings is going to be savings unless interest rates or something crazy happens. But you'll probably make a lot more money in return if you put it in an index or an individual stock that you know just is virtually bulletproof, at least at the time being. Google is not going to go anywhere. Okay? So, you know, it's stuff like that. It's stuff like that. But yeah. That's all I got. I hope this helps. If you want to help, you know, click the link below. I'm going to put a link for you guys to sign up for a free stock. If you sign up for a free stock, I get a free stock. It's really all I can really get out of any of this because I'm not going to monetize this or anything like that. You know, it's just the beginning of trying to help people, man. You know, hit me up whenever you need it.